Hello, hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. My name is Talia Joy. Welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. I am beyond excited to dive into today's topic. It has actually been one that has been heavy and present on my heart lately, and something that is impacting my own business, my own personal self. I know it's impacting you guys. I talk about it with my clients. I've been talking about it a little bit more, ironically enough, on Instagram. But today we're talking about social media. We all have a relationship with social media of some kind. And a lot of us also have children that we're navigating their relationships or talking about this, thinking about it. So today we're talking about that, social media, and how it affects your mind, your body, and your soul. We're going to talk also, though, about how I recommend me and my team of light as we were creating this. It was like how we can navigate it mindfully, because I don't believe that everything is all or nothing. I think some people need to step completely away from all social medias while other people can use it and it doesn't have the negative impact. And that's what we're talking about, is like finding your middle ground and using it mindfully so you can still stay aligned and empowered and in your zone. So first, before we dive into the episode, I want to ask you how often, or just for you to reflect, how often you found yourself scrolling. All of a sudden that turns into comparing yourself to others, and suddenly you feel like crap about yourself. You feel like you're not doing enough, or it makes you, it pulls on that part of you that's like, oh, I'm broke, I can't do this, or, whatever it was. Maybe you've compared yourself to other people's bodies or lifestyles, or the fact that they have something that you don't have. Maybe you've been using social media or your phone in general to numb out. I can put my hand up for that one for sure. I can put my hand up for all of these, but numbing out, avoiding something that we don't want to deal with. It's the same with me. I get you. That's why we're talking about it today. And it's easy to get stuck in this loop. And I won't go too conspiracy theory with you, but I do believe that is the intention of those apps, of phones in general. I do think that it's easy to get sucked in because it's created that way. It's meant to be that way. So again, social media isn't inherently bad. And we're going to talk about today how it's a tool, just like any other tool. It can either help you to build the life of your dreams and to be on course, quote unquote, or feel good about yourself, or it can pull you out. And it's all how you use it. So I'm excited to dive in. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've been talking a little bit more about how my business is changing, all that, and how personally I'm navigating social media, business, but also personal. We're going to have some stories. We're going to share some things. And I'm just really excited to dive in, and hopefully this helps you. So with that, you know what time it is. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your, maybe it's sparkling water today, or whatever you're obsessed with. Take a sip and let's dive in. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's just start with the fact that this is one big thing that I see personally that I'm like, this just doesn't feel right when it comes to social media, our phones, the instant nature of the internet and all that. I want to talk about the mental aspect, but the first thing I want to say is like, we are not meant in our brains to take in that much information and to sort of quote unquote have tabs or emotional cords or energetic cords with that many people. I really believe that first and foremost, we are not meant to be tied to so many people, including your old boss, some coworker, someone from high school that's still on there, your friend's niece that you once did that thing with. And like everything is out there, right? There's exes, there's people you used to be friends with, there's old coaches that left you with a bad taste in their mouth. Everything out there on social media, there's so many different people and details and memories and all of that. Like everybody has energy with you. Everybody has energetic cords. If you worked with someone 10 years ago, then you guys have that shared experience of the workplace. Or if it was, your kid's friend, then you have that cord between you of, you know them through your kid or whatever it is. So to have all of these people from all different parts of your life in your awareness, I believe is not natural. And I heard something one time, some of you may know the exact number, but they said something about a human in a tribe is meant to connect with 100 or less people that are more or less in their inner circle. So of course not besties, because I do not have 100 besties, but it's more like the people in your life that you constantly engage with. So like the school bus driver or the person at the grocery store that you always see, like this sort of community that you have around you, whether you really know them personally or not. They say that the human brain, it's supposed to be 100 or less in sort of tribe-like settings. That's why there was smaller tribes, smaller communities, because we're just simply not, quote unquote, meant to have that many people in our consciousness, in our awareness, in our tribe. I believe that there's something there that now in modern times makes us feel overwhelmed. And, usually if you break up with someone or you have a roommate and you go your separate ways, you go your separate ways. But there's so many people now that you see maybe on social media that really you wouldn't have ever connected with again if it wasn't for social media. So that's one thing, not to mention how many people you don't actually know in real life, but you start to feel like you know. So you almost like they become part of this part, but they're somewhere else in the world and they're only showing you this sliver snapshot of their life. We'll get to that. But it just is a lot for our brains. So that's the first place I just wanted to start, is like just to inquire amongst yourself or within your own mind. Do you think that it's healthy to kind of have so many people in your field, so much stimulus? If we didn't have social media, if we didn't have these types of platforms, we would walk around like in our neighborhood. We know our neighbor Dave. We know, again, the bus driver or the cashier or the librarian at our library or whatever. You only know the people you come into contact with. But with social media, you times that by like a bajillion. And now there's all these people, whether you actually know them or not, that are in your consciousness. And this is where the mental impact, I think, really comes. So how I asked you in the intro, do you ever notice how you can be scrolling and then all of a sudden you start feeling like crap? It leaves you feeling drained. Maybe you're not even doing anything, but just by being on your phone and seeing the things you see, all of a sudden, maybe you're having a hard day anyway. And social media just consumes, or the impact of it. You see someone, all of a sudden, again, you're consumed with what you're not doing or how, you don't have what they have. That starts to just emotionally overwhelm us. But mentally, there's this overstimulation of information, of confusing feelings, of confusing mental images, like so many of them when you're scroll, right? So you're being pulled in like 100 directions at once. So think about it. You're consuming so much information so quickly. It's like news, memes, friends' vacation photos, influencers' morning routine, and then the president or prime minister, and then your ex, or then that coach. Your brain is trying to process this all, and it's exhausting. Not to mention, as I already touched on, the comparison trap. So when you're scrolling, it's so easy, even for confident, strong, independent people who are self-aware. It's so easy to fall into the pattern of measuring yourself against other people, their achievements, their bodies, their relationships. And the truth is that is just a highlight reel. It is just a sliver. You're comparing your behind the scenes, nitty gritty, 24/7 to someone else's curated moment with the perfect music that brings about the perfect emotion, and it's 3 seconds of their life. It's just not a good indication of how they're actually doing. Not that comparison is ever healthy, but at least if we're going to compare, let's put it all out there, And until you see the ins and outs of their life, I don't think you even can compare, even if it looks like, and it's so convincing that everything is great. So, of course, in this, as I said in the intro, it's not all bad. We'll get to the good parts too. And something to do with the mental component and the comparison and all that, something you can do, something I've been doing, see if it resonates, is to take intentional breaks, to give your mind intentional times to reset, to be in your present moment, real life. Even 5 minutes or, on this walk, I'm just not going to check my phone, putting it down for a few hours, putting it down for a whole Sunday, maybe taking like a digital detox intentionally, like 3 days where you don't log into any social media. And for those of you with businesses, creating boundaries around when you're on social media, quote unquote, working, meaning we are always like, it's a fine, it's like a nuanced line, like when you're working and when you're just kind of on social media. So sometimes setting really strong boundaries around your business and for personal life, like when you're going to be on, and you can just uninstall the app for sections of time. And all you do is just reinstall it, put in your username. That's it. It's not like this big deal. People don't often think of that. You can actually just take Instagram or whatever it is off your phone for even just a day or whatever it is. And then you can just log in again. It's not a big deal. So sometimes taking those intentional breaks can create a huge difference because it lets your brain see, quote unquote, real life and become present again to the walking trail around your home and your neighbor, and how when you really look out into the world and compare yourself to the people in the grocery store or whatever, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just one of a million humans, like doing a good job, finding our ways. You talk to other moms, you talk to other people that are going through what you're going through, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, like I am normal, huh? So sometimes we just need those breaks. We need those breaks to remember what real life truly is. The other thing I'm going to talk about more in depth in a minute, it's going to blow your mind. I'm bringing in law of attraction with social media. It's going to be so cool. But I want you in this, first to just think about how you can truly curate your feed. So if you follow only accounts of people that inspire you, educate you, / make you feel good, maybe it's family, maybe it's kitten photos, maybe whatever it is, maybe it's humor. If these accounts make you feel good, then you will intentionally curate your own feed. So it's okay to unfollow. It's okay to take breaks. I think that on most platforms, there's settings where you can take breaks from someone. You don't unfollow them, but you stop seeing their content. They don't know about it. It's really just for you. You can take breaks that way, but really curating your feed and realizing, especially now with social media, you don't have to follow anyone. It's not like 15, where like if someone unfollowed you, it was this giant deal and people like cared. To be honest, I know there's probably people that care or whatever, but nobody cares as much. Like just text the person instead, or know you'll see them later. I mean, maybe you don't want to text them if you're unfollowing them, but all I mean is like you don't have to hold on to them just because you feel bad. Look after yourself, protect yourself. Chances are they won't even notice. And if they do, it's all good. People come and go, right? Without social media, there's a lot of people that we would have just fallen out of a relationship with, friends and coworkers and whatever. So remember to take intentional breaks and remember to curate your feed, to really notice what accounts make you feel good, what accounts don't make you feel good, and what you want out of that platform. Thinking of an intention for the platform. We're going to go deeper into that in a second. So I'm talking there about the mental impacts. I now want to talk about the emotional impacts, which I, mentioned a little bit as well. But social media, what I've noticed is it's kind of like it has a way of amplifying our feelings. Sometimes it brings us joy when we see something hilarious or we feel so seen, or you see a friend's, engagement or pictures of their baby or whatever, and it brings us joy. Other times it can feel like it makes us, or it can feel heavy, like it makes us feel inadequate, as I was saying, comparison. It can even make us feel anxious, moody, lonely, these types of things, and we might not even realize it. Because we go on the app and then we start feeling, say you're looking for love and you keep seeing all these people with partners, and then you start feeling alone, it sends you into your own head about how alone you are and this wound you may already have. And then you close the app and you're left with that feeling of loneliness. The sadness follows you when you put your phone down. So instead of acknowledging, I have feelings here, let's work through it. What do I need to heal? Or how can I, feel better about myself or whatever it is? We just continually get triggered by social media. So if you don't feel good about your body, you're going to open it up and you're going to see people and it's going to make you feel like crap about your body. If it's, as I said, relationships, or you feel broke, you're going to see people constantly on crazy vacations and making all this money. And unless you're doing the work on that trigger that comes up, which most people don't always know what to do, right? So unless you're doing the work, you're just basically getting triggered over and over again. Even while you're doing the work, you're being triggered every time. So these moments are an invitation to check in with yourself, but to also notice, do I continually want to feel like crap? That's another reason to mute or unfollow or whatever people that do that to you, whether it's quote unquote right or wrong. It means they could be an amazing person, but if it triggers you, is it worth it? So social media doesn't create emotions, but it can magnify what's already within us. And that's when we can be triggered, feel uncomfortable, and it's an opportunity for growth, for sure. What is this making me feel? How can I start to heal that comparison and that type of thing? For sure, do the work, but also realize if you're going to be triggered every day, the work takes time. Introspection, healing, working through things takes time. Do you want to be triggered every 9 seconds or several times a day, even while you're trying to do the work? It almost feels like someone's pushing you underwater while you're learning to swim, So just check in about that with yourself. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is I want to touch just for a second on how when we're comparing, when we're overwhelmed, when we're lost in our stuff because we're triggered, we're not in our soul, we're not in our authentic self, we're not in our intuition, we're not in our true self. So just something to think about, that when we're stimulated, when our mind is locked in and we're like, going from, as I said, like news to like a recipe to someone's keto diet to some, old roommate, and it's just kind of overstimulating that way. When we have that happening in that moment, we're not in our intuition. We're not aware of our soul. We're not in our higher self. So just consider that as well. We're locked into some kind of false reality in a way. It's kind of like VR, right? But where I want to go with this too is to realize, as we go into the more spiritual part, that social media is the law of attraction, okay? So it is the law of attraction. What you engage with brings more of it into your life. Every single time you click, like, comment, share, read, you're sending out a signal. If you're engaging with inspiring, uplifting content, you're inviting more of that into your feed, into your life. If you're clicking on drama, negativity, fear-based content, things that make you feel like crap, that it's almost like you can't not look, then you're attracting more of that too. So awareness is key. But isn't it trippy how social media is law of attraction? So going back to how you can curate your feed, if you created a brand new Instagram account that was not linked to the one you have or whatever, and all you did was look up kitten videos, you only liked kitten videos, you only shared kitten videos, you only clicked on or read kitten videos, very quickly, Instagram would be like this kitten world. But that's not usually what we do, right? We are a mix of light and dark. We've clicked on things. We're friends with people because we felt bad. We, there's those people that we like want their life so bad, but it ends up making us feel like crap. And it's like this giant mix. So I want you to think about that. What you put your focus on expands. That is the law of attraction. That is how consciousness works as well. Projection and the laws of the universe and yada, yada, but what we put our focus on expands, what we click on. And Instagram even knows, like straight up, if you're scrolling and you stop on a post, but you don't even click on it, you just look at it, it knows. It knows how many seconds you look at each post. It sees when you tap back to see something again. It knows all of that. It's like Big Brother up in there. And it will send you more of what you are clicking on, what you are viewing, what you are commenting. So if you don't like something, stop giving it your attention. If it makes you feel like crap, just stop engaging. It's like metaphoric, but also very physical. You will stop seeing that type of content. If you're clicking on drama, If you're following people that make you feel like crap, you're going to keep seeing it. So again, awareness is key. Paying attention to what you're consuming, asking yourself, does this align with the energy of what I am and what I am moving forward, the energy I want to embody? Does this make me feel warm, fuzzy, or does this make me feel cold, prickly? Like, as easy as that. So your phone can be used for growth. It can be used to listen to uplifting podcasts or follow accounts that align with your values. It can give you mom hacks and recipes and fitness, hacks and all this stuff. It can be amazing. It's incredible to look up some random thing and you're like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I was looking for. And I've learned so much by using the internet, of course, right? But keep in mind with social media that it is going to bring you more of what you're looking at. And it is going to make you feel, or can have the potential to make you feel a certain way, to poke something within you. So be mindful and aware of, what is it poking? Is it not good enough? Because that's calling for you to heal and continue on your healing journey of not good enough. But in the meantime, do you want to be bombarded with it? So as we start to wrap up, I'm going to offer in a second a few sort of tangible ways that you can use social media, or just things I suggest. You can try it on, see if it works for you. But first, I wanted to say that in regards to my business, I've been, again, teasing it a little bit, and not teasing, but just slowly sharing. And I built my business on Facebook almost 10 years ago. I was on Facebook Live all the time. I did live readings. I did live trainings. I did live events. I did this and that. I had memberships. We were in Facebook groups. Eventually, it moved over to Zoom for things like that. I was on Facebook all the time. I was posting 3 times a day for 6 years. Then I started doing Instagram because I had a personal Instagram, but eventually I wanted to do it for business. So then I linked the two, and I've been really active on Instagram and Facebook for all these years and connecting with people. And it's been a huge part of my business, partly because it's what they say you should do in the beginning, right? But also because it was a way to connect with the community every day, and not just me talking at you, you guys sending me comments, sending me DMs, hearting things. I really like to see what resonates. Was this helpful? Did this help you in some way? But what I've found in the last few years is that Instagram has turned into just selling. Every course is the thing that's going to change your life, and everything is the thing that's going to change your life. And this is the one secret and one tool. And it is so overwhelming. So as a human, I'm an empath. I'm HSP, so I'm extremely sensitive. I'm a human design reflector. I am very overwhelmed when it comes to social media. I find myself scrolling and immediately going yuck, this doesn't feel good. So then I started thinking about, it felt wrong in a way to try to get you guys to be follow me on Instagram. I'm I don't want you on Instagram. I actually love you. I don't want you on Instagram, right? And so I started thinking, if I wouldn't recommend that my clients are on Instagram more often, why am I putting so much effort into Instagram? But I realized that I want to be on there as a way to express myself. I'm very creative. I've got lots of different ways I'm creative. I love making things, creating things. So I like to post things where, I'll post a reel. It's stop and take 10 breaths with me, or something refreshing, or a tangible tool, or something like that. I like to actually get in there while you're in the middle of scrolling to be to help you find center for a frickin' second, right? But I don't really resonate with Instagram, especially the courses you take as a business owner. It's every post you should be selling, and there should be nothing without a call to action. And I'm just over it. And you guys are over it. Are you buying all your life-changing courses off of Instagram? Maybe you are, but I just feel it's so busy and so fluffy, and so everything's just trying to be viral. It's not substance anymore. So whether it's my business, someone else, or you're the consumer, just noticing how it's is this the place of substance that it once was? Or I don't know. But anyway, so I gave myself permission January 1st, as my whole business was changing. I gave myself permission to completely release of any to-dos or shoulds from myself in my business with social media, and only post when I feel inspired, when I feel lit up, when it's flowing out of me so much I want to share, basically when it feels truly authentic. So I'm going to offer really high quality / get to know me, show my face every once in a while, but it is no longer a keystone of my business because it's not even where I want to be. What I want to do is show up here where I feel truly authentic, where I feel unfiltered, where I feel like I can just be me. And if you want to come find me on Instagram, like I say this in all the episodes, come find me. I'd love to connect, like for real. So I'll post substance. I'll post who I truly am in that way over there. But also know that you may not see me for multiple days in a row, or it may not be the like fluffy sell stuff that you see with everybody else because I'm just kind of over it. So I wanted to share that. I don't know what it looks like for me in the future, but I know that the podcasts and my book and what's upcoming, as I shared in the updates episode, that is where I'm headed because as a human, I'm kind of over social media in general. So anyway, let's move on to the tangible tips and then we're going to wrap up. So I really recommend, I've touched on some of these already. Number one, setting boundaries with yourself, deciding within yourself how and when you'll use social media. So maybe writing out in a journal what your intention is for social media, when you see it being healthy for you to use it. How does your authentic self use social media? How does your true self use, these platforms? And maybe gentle, intentions with yourself, like no scrolling after dinner or after 8 or not right before bed. What kind of boundaries? And then maybe I'm going to get to taking detox days, but maybe thinking about that within the boundary that maybe even just one day a month or one day a week, you put the phone down, you take a digital detox, and that could be part of your boundaries. So just think about that. The next thing you can do is to have the awareness to catch yourself when you're zoning out or when you start to not feel good. So asking yourself like, wait, hang on, am I avoiding? Is this intentional? And like, if I'm starting to not feel good, can I just love myself enough to put it down and put my hand on my heart and come back into my body, come back into the present moment? The third thing is to create balance. So again, that's where I'm saying it's okay to like indulge sometimes, to lose yourself in something, to watch a few funny reels, or there's some comedian you get zoned out, like laughing about whatever, it's totally fine to do that. It's not all or nothing. Give yourself permission to binge watch a YouTube channel or scroll Pinterest, but make sure it's intentional. Just be aware of how you feel. And if you're like scrolling Pinterest or even Instagram or whatever, going like, oh yeah, like I've been into like making different soups and, looking at different recipes lately. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I used to make that all the time. And I'll just be lost and like, sorry, babe, I'm looking at Buddha bowls for like an hour. Give yourself permission, but just make sure it's intentional for your mental and emotional well-being. Okay. So the last one I want to say is to take detox days, to disconnect from your phone completely. So if you think of it as like detox periods, that to me says more than 5 minutes. That says like an afternoon or on a Sunday, or maybe it is a day or whatever, where you just disconnect from your phone completely. So thinking about that for a day, for a weekend, for even just a few hours, taking time to reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with nature, to be in your body without that stimulation and that shit sort of nagging at you and making you not feel good enough and all that stuff. So those are my main tips, is about boundaries, being aware of how you feel when you're doing it, creating balance within yourself, giving you that permission to indulge, but also being mindful of how it feels, and then taking those detox days. So social media, again, is not the enemy, it's a tool. But I want you to just be aware of that, of all of this. I don't think it's natural for our brain to keep tabs on so many people, for our brain to be hearing and seeing all the news all over the world, all the tragedy, all the drama, all the ins and outs of everything, and like refreshing a feed to see if there's anything new. And like, I just don't think that our brain is meant to do that. I think it takes us away from connection, from self-growth, from self-introspection, because we're kind of lost in this other world. But it's not all bad, as I say. And just being aware that when it starts to feel heavy, remember to step back, get back into your real life, because those are reals, but it's not real. It's not your real life. So maybe even the intention is to just have pockets where you're connected to your real life for prolonged amounts of time or whatever, right? So here's your call to action. Take a moment today to reflect on your relationship with social media. How is it impacting your mind, your emotions, your spirit. How can you take, from everything we talked about here, how can you take some small intentional steps to maybe use it a little bit more in a way that serves you? Was there something I said or a suggestion that you went, yeah, that's me. I need to do that from my soul, from my intuition? So good job, my love. I know that, social media is everywhere. We all are thinking about it and on it and interacting with it. And my intention for you is for you to realize that it is a tool. It is a law of attraction device. What you put in is exactly what you will receive. And you don't have to open it up. You don't have to follow someone at any time. Look after you, look after your mental health. And if there's someone you know that's struggled with this or you've talked about it, a like-minded friend, share this with them, because I'd love to have this conversation more and have people, really understand this so that they can bring it into balance as well. So I would be so grateful. Also, if you ever feel inclined to write a review for the show on whatever app you listen to, it helps so much. It's the thing you can do that truly helps this show the most, and it's free. And I would be so grateful if you did. So again, I really hope this resonated, my friend. Good luck to you out there on the high seas in the social media world. And if you do want to, ironically, come find me on Instagram. You can at Talia Joy Manifestation, and even send me a DM. Let me know that you heard this, maybe some of the small shifts that you're going to make in your life, in your relationship with social media, anything that resonated with you, any struggles you've had. I would love to talk about it. So until next time, keep shining, keep drinking your lattes, and I will see you in the next episode. Talk to you soon. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I really hope that it served you. So before you go, I want to share something with you. If you're loving these conversations about self-growth and healing and moving forward, and you're really ready for more tools, more implementation, more integration, more structure, more what do I do? I invite you over to On the Path. This is my only private community, and honestly, it's the place to be if you want to integrate, if you want to deepen your journey and you find my work helpful. Here's the vibe: bite-sized practices, ongoing support, deep dive episodes, weekly practices, monthly challenges, literally just keeping you on your path, showing up for yourself day by day, week by week, month by month. So this is where you really put it into action, and I've got your back with these assignments, tools, practices, shifts, deep dives, meditations, journal prompts, and literally everything you could need to carve out your unique journey of self-growth, self-healing, and transformation. So I'm not going to go on and on. If you feel called, you feel called. And if you check below, because you made it all the way to the end of this, you'll find a link to join On the Path for the first month for only $11. So after that, it's just $27 a month, and you can go at any time. Okay, my love, I genuinely hope this episode lit you up, and I can't wait to welcome you over to On the Path, and I cannot wait to see you also in the next episode. Thanks so much, and have a great day.